Hello world and all of my friends and subscribers. So today is going to be a secondary objective and a fluff video. So firstly I'll just cover the secondary objective, which is why did I choose my project? Well, I was starting a demon's army, and then I decided to move to a chaos army. But now at the age of Sigma, I think I'm going to carry on with what I'm doing with the chaos. And I just really like the models, so I'm just going on choosing the models for how I enjoy what they look like. I do have some other models. Last year I did some Plague Bearers of Nurgle, and you can see them in my last year's videos. So that's why I chose it. And what do I hope to do with them with the challenge ends? Well, here's hoping I'll get to play with them. So moving on to my fluff, I'm just going to have a little fun and read out my narrative for you and entertain you while I'm reading it with a few quick sketches I did to help you imagine the scene. So let's begin. Leaving the tavern with a sour taste in her mouth, Elvira looked around for Clyde. She spotted him around the corner, down a side street, eating herbs that were growing on an abandoned building's windowsill. "So what horrendous terrors did you uncover?" Clyde asked the other two. "Well, it seems Lord and Lady Abernath have been brainwashed by some false priest who claims to speak on behalf of a powerful goddess who would bring back their dead son." "Oh dear. That sounds terrible." "Yes, well," Bob growled, "we need to find this priest Olan and get answers from him fast. I suggest we check the temple, as that's so likely where we'll find him lurking." Walking down a cobbled street on the west side of town, Clyde glanced up and spotted the shining spire above the other rooftops. "There it is." The other two looked up and saw the same spire, and as they came around a bend in the road, a magnificent temple stood before them. It was quite extravagant for a town that was so far removed from the main kingdom. As they approached, they could make out two gold statues of a beautiful woman on either side of the beautifully carved double doors that opened into the main entranceway. A single name could be seen in gold letters above the entrance: Enola. The shrine was adorned with many candles, sticks of aromatic incense and flowers. There was another gold statue on the altar. They could see this one clearer. The woman was beautiful. She was naked apart from her long flowing hair that cascaded down to curl playfully on the cushion at her feet. Her eyes were looking straight at the adventurers. They seemed alive. "Those eyes," Elvira whispered, shuddering. "There's something very wrong with those eyes." "There's dark magic here. We should leave," Clyde said, nudging Elvira in the small of her back, trying to get her to move towards the exit. "Be still, Clyde. At least we know we are in the right place," Elvira whispered into his ear. As she did so, she put her hands on his soft pink nose to calm him. "Hush, I hear something," Bob said while turning towards the door to the side of the altar. The door opened and a man walked through it. He did not look like he was having a hard time, like the villagers they had seen in the square. He was rather plump, balding, and wearing a robe of dark purple silk. He jumped when he noticed the three standing before the altar. "Oh! Apologies. I did not hear you enter the temple. I am the priest Olan. How may I be of service?" Elvira began to scowl, and her nose wrinkled up. But before she could say the things she was thinking about the so-called priest, Bob cut in. "We're travelling through, and had heard many tales of the beautiful and generous goddess of this town, and wished to learn more of her from her very own priest." "Well, of course, good travellers, a simple offering to the goddess, and I will tell you all I can of her wonders." Elvira crossed her arms and raised her top lip in a snarl. "Elvira, please, we have some gold to spare," Bob growled quietly. "Humph," came the noise Elvira made as she tried to conceal how many coins she had in her purse. She clutched several coins in her fist before throwing them at the goddess's feet. Very good, the priest's eyes glazed over as he began to tell of the goddess's power. The priest spoke of the goddess Enola's powers of resurrection, healing, and knowledge. Granting wishes is her specialty, riches, beauty, and love. She has made kings strong and powerful, and he told of battles and mighty wars she had assisted in winning. And of course, with the complete devotion of the ones receiving these wonderful gifts. So Enola, this great and wondrous goddess, she seems much too strong and powerful to stay in spiritual form. Does she manifest in physical form to her faithful worshippers? Bob asked. Elvira raised an eyebrow and looked over at Clyde, who was trembling with his ears back. Oh no, not at all. She needs powerful magic to assist her to manifest physically. Only the most devoted would have that honour. Just at that moment, Elvira felt a warm breeze pick up her hair and dance with it. She no longer felt angry or tense. She felt warm and happy. What was she doing here with these two beasts? She wanted to worship Enola as an acolyte. Clyde felt something shift in Elvira's posture. Her shoulders slumped and her eyes glazed over. Looking to Bob, he could see his eyes were staring at nothing, and he was swaying gently from side to side. Olin had moved towards him and was pulling something out from beneath his robes. It was a bejeweled dagger. Clyde was no longer afraid. He reared up on his hind legs and screamed as loud as he could. No! Get away from them! Olan's eyes widened in surprise. What? But how is this possible? Clyde's hooves came down on Olan's chest and he was knocked to the ground. He inhaled a wounded gasp. Of course Clyde was a unicorn. Hypnosis and witchcraft could not affect him. Just then he heard a gasp from Elvira and a groan from Bob. Olan began to laugh. At first it was hoarse and crackling. Then it got louder and higher in pitch. My goddess will never let you harm me, he screeched. His face started to distort and change colour, and he was shrinking in size. He sprouted feathers. An ugly disheveled crow was standing between Clyde's hooves. He lifted up one great hoof to strike the bird, but before he could, it was gone in a flurry of feathers. Elvira and Bob looked over at Clyde and blinked dumbly. Clyde gave a great sigh and collapsed to the ground, again trembling. This so-called goddess is no deity, only an evil being who would grant wishes such as Olan described. I fear this Enola is an evil witch of great power. So that is this part of my narrative, which was a positive outcome for my crew because I completed my week's objective. So stay tuned to find out what happens to the Pride of Fatties next. And if you are confused about why we're starting off in such a weird place and there's things left out, it's because the introduction I have put in my Google Docs, and I'll leave a link below. I'll also leave a link below to this part of my narrative, so if you're in the mood for reading and you didn't catch what I was saying, or something weird like that, then you can check it out there as well. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye!